Assalamu alaikum, dear students. In this lecture, we are going to talk about nouns, possessives and pronouns. इस लेक्चर में हम बात करेंगे कि नाउन क्या है, possessives क्या होते हैं और pronouns क्या हैं, और हमारा जो नाउन है वो भी possessive के तौर पर भी काम कर सकता है, पोजीशन को शो कर सकता है. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले तो यह है व्हाट अ नाउन इज़, मतलब नाउन क्या है. एज वी नो दैट नाउन इज़ ए नेमिंग वर्ड. नाउन एक ऐसा वर्ड है जो चीज़ों को नाम देता है. किसी इंडिविजुअल को नाउन नाम देता है, किसी प्लेस को, किसी पर्सन को, जो लोगों के नाम होते हैं या जगहों के नाम होते हैं या चीज़ों के नाम होते हैं, दे आर कॉल्ड नाउन्स. अब नाउन के भी कुछ टाइप्स हैं, एज यू सी हियर, कंक्रीट नाउन. अब कंक्रीट वो नाउन होता है जिसे आप टच कर सकते हैं. लाइक आई हैव मार्कर इन माई हैंड, सो दिस इज़ एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ अ कंक्रीट नाउन. यू सी दिस स्क्रीन, नाउ दिस स्क्रीन इज़ अ कंक्रीट नाउन, राइट, because it exists, it has an existence. So here I've got a few examples: artist, table, child, station, food, storm. Now these all are the examples of concrete nouns. And then we have abstract noun. Now abstract noun is a noun that does not have a tangible existence. इसकी कोई existence नहीं होती abstract noun की. ठीक है, for instance art, which is a subject of study, or a concept or an idea of knowledge or interest and all that. Responsibility, anger, efficiency, perception. Photography. Now photography is a field, it's an occupation, just like an art is a field of studies or work. So these are abstract nouns. They cannot be touched, they can be felt, but you cannot apply all your five senses to this very category of noun. And then we have got proper noun. Now the names of people, places, events, etc., that have some special importance, like Jane, London, August, etc. The other essential part of a proper noun is that the starting letter of it is always capitalized of proper noun. So like we have countable nouns. Now nouns that can be counted. It reminds me of a very well-known saying that everything that is counted does not count, and everything that counts is not counted. So that's what it means. So countable noun means nouns that you can count, so this is called countable nouns. And uncountable nouns, you cannot count them, like oil, beauty, fruit and all that. All right, we do not use an, these are the indefinite articles, with uncountable nouns, and we do not usually make them plural. Now this is another example of another usage of this uncountable nouns. You cannot use indefinite article with them, and you cannot make them plural, and they're always used in the singular form, and they always take singular verb. So I hope this makes sense. Now possessive forms. Possessive form means when you talk about the possession of somebody or something, so you probably use an apostrophe with a noun to show the possession of it, like noun plus an apostrophe for showing a possession of a singular noun. One of Sam's vehicles has been damaged. Now this sentence tells that Sam is a person who has many vehicles, and one of his vehicles has been damaged, right? So we are talking about the possession of Sam. Noun plus of plus noun. Now this is another pattern of showing possession of a noun. So when you talk about a living thing, you put an apostrophe with it, and when you talk about non-living things, so you put off between two nouns. Like there is a scratch on the paintwork of his car, Now, so you see, there is a pent work, which is one noun, and his car is another noun phrase. And here we have got the preposition of, which is showing a possession of the car, his car. So it's a thing, right? If the meaning is clear from the context, we can omit the following noun. When you know who is being talked about or what is being talked about, so you essentially do not mention it again, because that becomes a bit redundant. You see here an example is, that isn't my handwriting, it is Selena's. Now what are we talking about? We're talking about handwriting. So you don't need to mention it again, because it is already clear from the context that the handwriting of Selena is being talked about, right? So Selena's handwriting. You don't need to mention that I'm talking about Selena's handwriting. When you have put an apostrophe with it, it tells us that you're talking about the handwriting of Selena's. All right, so I'm going to talk about now the personal pronouns. You see over here, यहाँ हमारे पास कुछ pronouns की categories हैं. Now, subject pronouns, object pronouns. When we talk about a sentence in English, right? So the sentence predominantly has two parts. One is a subjective part, and the second is a predicative part. In some other lecture, I'll be shedding some light on it. That what is a subjective part, what things does it have, and what is a predicative part, and what aspects does it have. So I'll be explaining that in some other lecture. But for the time being, this is what I'm talking about here. So we have the personal pronouns, like referring to people essentially. Subject pronoun. Now these are the pronouns that are used in the subjective part of a sentence, right? So like I, you, he, she, it, we, they. And these are the object pronouns. Now these are the pronouns that are used in the predicative part of the sentence. Me, I mean this is the object pronoun. You, objective case. Him, her, it, us, them. And then we have got the possessive adjective or possessive determiners. These are pronouns, but they are acting as possessives. So my, your, his, her, its, are, their. And we've got another possessive, we're calling these possessive adjectives, while I'm calling this category as possessive pronouns. Now, what is the essential difference between these two categories? I'm going to explain that in a minute. Mine, yours, his, hers, ours, theirs. And here we've got the reflexive pronouns. They can also be referred to as emphatic pronouns depending on how they are used. So myself, yourself, yourselves, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, themselves. Right? So these are the types of pronouns. So now we see an example of a subject pronoun. So Hockney is Britain's most famous painter. So Hockney is Britain's most famous painter. Now Hockney is a noun, right? So when we refer to Hockney, again, in the following sentence, we will not be mentioning Hockney again and again, because that becomes a bit boring. So we'll use a pronoun to refer to the antecedent. Now what is an antecedent? Something that comes prior in a sentence. So he's from Yorkshire. Now he means Hockney, who is a famous painter in Britain, right? So now we've got object pronoun. So I met Julian yesterday. Now Julian is a person whom I met yesterday, right? So Julian here is a noun. But if I refer to him again, I'll be using the object pronoun, because I is already there and I is a subject pronoun, right? So after the verb, we normally put an object pronoun. I like him, don't you? So like I like him. So you see, him here is an object pronoun. All right, so we have another example. You see, those books belong to Julian. Can you give them to him, please? Now, we've got two objects here. One is the direct object and one is the indirect object. So direct object is something or somebody that responds to the question what or who, and indirect object is something or somebody that responds to the question for whom or for what, right? So if I say, can you give them to him? Now them, what is them? Books, right? So now, and what is him? Him is a direct object because you're giving something to him. And what you're giving to him, like what are you giving to him? Books. So books are your indirect objects, right? So like if I say that I bought him a car, so him here is an indirect object and a car is a direct object. You understand that? I hope it is clear to all of you. Fine, and then we've got possessive adjective. Now, did Susie leave that hair? It looks like her umbrella. So her is a possessive adjective and umbrella is a noun. Now the difference that I wanted to touch upon here was possessive adjective and possessive pronouns. With possessive adjectives, we essentially put a noun after it, while with possessive pronouns, we do not use a noun after these possessive pronouns. And as we say that, a pronoun is used in place of a noun. Right? So possessive pronouns, no, it is not her umbrella, it is ours. You see here, her is a possessive adjective while ours is a possessive determiner coming without a noun. Do not you recognize it? So like, don't you recognize it? Now reflexive pronouns are used in a sentence when the subject and the object of a sentence are same. They're not different. Like, quick, the baby's burnt herself. So you see the baby is the subject, right? And burnt herself. So herself is an object referring to the baby. So the subject and the object of the sentence are same. We are using the reflexive pronoun. And there are certain verbs in the English language that primarily take the reflexive pronouns with them. And then we've got some indefinite pronouns, that I would like to just touch upon. Now, what are the indefinite pronouns? You say here, like indefinite means with something or somebody that's not specific. So we call it indefinite. Someone or somebody. Something, somewhere, somehow, anyone, anybody, anything, anywhere, anyhow, everyone or everybody, everything, everywhere, no one, nobody, nothing and nowhere. Now, they can refer to anything or anyone or everything or everyone. We use one and body interchangeably. You can replace them. Anyhow is informal, is similar to anyway. Anyhow, as I was saying, like I was just saying it, we usually write no one as two words and nobody as one word. Now that these are the differences. No one, two words separately, and nobody, one word. And with these indefinite pronouns, we put singular verb because they are treated as singular pronouns. So I'm sure this was a very enriching, very informative lecture on noun, pronouns. It wasn't that much in detail. I'll be, coming up with more lectures in more details. But I hope this was really informative, and this must have helped you in, just cementing a good grasp on the aspects of language called nouns and pronouns. If you ever face any problem in understanding noun and pronouns, you may refer to it as a reference material, and they can really help you. I hope you enjoy this lecture on the fundamental concept of the English language, noun and pronoun. Stay blessed. See you soon in another lecture. Thank you very much.